Before I start my talk, I want to offer a content warning. In my talk, I'll be referencing sexual harassment and sexual assault. So please be aware and please make sure you are taking care of yourself first and foremost. Let's go ahead and start with the story. Sarah is an early career professional, and she is so excited because she's just been selected for a big project at her new job. Even more exciting, she has a chance to work with John, the senior executive she's most impressed with. Things are going great. Sarah really feels like she's shining at this project. She's getting a chance to really use her strengths, and even better, she's spending a lot of great time working one-on-one with John. However, things start to get a little bit uncomfortable. John is spending a lot of time with Sarah, and spending a lot of time offering uncomfortable comments, sexual jokes, touching Sarah without her consent. One night, John and Sarah are both working late. John asks Sarah, "Hey, let's go out for a drink," and she doesn't feel like she can say no. Unfortunately, that night, John sexually assaulted Sarah. Sarah is understandably devastated. What went from an amazing career opportunity turned so quickly into a nightmare. And honestly, Sarah didn't know what to do next. She was grief-stricken. She had no idea what she could do. She finally worked up the courage and told her manager what happened. And her manager's response was surprising. Her manager said, "Hey, Sarah, you know, John is a senior executive, and this is one of those he said, she said type of situations. I really don't think anyone is going to believe you, and the best thing you can probably do for your career is just move on." We know Sarah is harmed by John's behavior, but what research also tells us is that Sarah was harmed separately by her manager's response. And that harm is something known as institutional betrayal. Institutional betrayal is when an employee or a member of an organization experiences harm within that organization they belong to. That organization fails to prevent, respond to, or acknowledge the harm that's been perpetrated within its ranks. This is a second, separate psychological injury, and the impact of it has massive impacts on that individual outside of even the other harm that's been perpetrated. The concept of institutional betrayal really parallels the feelings we experience when we feel individual betrayal or have relationships that are betrayed. That is what's showing up for us psychologically when institutions betray us. The concept of institutional betrayal was coined by Dr. Jennifer Freyd. She is a researcher and psychologist. And what she found is when organizations find out about misdeeds and harm occurring in their organization, their default is to protect themselves, protect the perpetrator. And oftentimes, this is most prevalent when we see issues like sexual harassment or sexual assault. Think about what happened during the Me Too movement, for example. And a strategy that's often deployed when institutional betrayal is happening is something called DARVO. And DARVO stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. And this is a strategy that's used intentionally or unintentionally to shift focus or shift blame. And if you've heard of DARVO before, I'm not surprised because this is a widespread phenomenon. And even folks talk about it in pop culture. There's a South Park episode about it. So what are we supposed to do? I just told a really crappy story about something that happens in our organizations all the time. So how do we move away from institutional betrayal to something so much better? Well, I'm actually really excited because I'm looking out into this room and I'm looking at all of the people who have the power to break the cycle of institutional betrayal and change our organizations and change our workplaces into something so much better for every one of us. And that starts with every one of us acknowledging Nobody gets it right all the time. No organization gets it right all the time. So we have to listen to our employees, our customers, our communities, our stakeholders. We have to listen and hear when they've been harmed and work to rectify that harm. Because when we work past creating additional harm within our organizations and all the bad things that come from that, and you know this as leaders, instead we can create something even more amazing. We can create a safe, supportive workplace that instead creates institutional loyalty. So I hope you accept my challenge today, and I hope in your organizations you start to build institutional loyalty and get rid of institutional betrayal. Thank you so much.